Look at this guy. He's mindlessly consuming content on YouTube. Any flashy thumbnail or interesting title he clicks on, daily dose of internet, and like the news or something. Any information that's coming in is going through one ear and out the next, and he's not maintaining any of this knowledge. He's just brain dead consuming this content. Free dopamine, free dopamine. Now let's look at this other guy. He's subscribed to 10 channels. He goes through these channels' videos, and the ones that interest him, he puts in his watch later. Then, when he's ready, he sits down, clicks on this 2 hour long Andrew Huberman video, and through the whole entire video, he's got his journal open, and he's writing down all these notes. All the interesting, all the big facts that a guy like Andrew Huberman is saying in this 2 hour long podcast on how to sleep better. Who do you think is going to be ahead in 2 years? And who do you think is going to be more productive, more alert during the day, feel better, and live longer? You know the answer to this. This guy who's learning how to sleep better is literally going to live longer than this guy who's not sleeping good. And the sleeping part doesn't matter. This is about consuming content. Why is my focus consuming content? And consuming content doesn't necessarily have to be on YouTube. Consuming content is also through reading. Okay, I consume content like the second guy in this example. I'm subscribed to a very, very few amount of people, but when I do sit down to watch this 2 hour long podcast, I know, okay, I'm going to be sitting here for the next 2 hours. I get my water, I turn on the video, and I have my journal set up. Every new section of his video where he's, talking about one specific thing, I'm writing it down. My journal's over there, and I have this 1.5 long page of just notes from this one sleep podcast, and it's helped me a ton with, waking up earlier and sleeping better. It's so good. I'm gonna make a video on that as well. But it's so good, man, when you actually consume content with a purpose. I used to be the first guy. I used to watch anything and everything, watching these trash news videos that are just adding anxiety to me for free. And, looking at Fortnite montages. That used to be me. No purpose. I would get on video games, and then as soon as I get off, I would just go watch other people play the same video games. So mindfully consuming content and like consuming content with a purpose totally transforms the way you learn. Because back then, look, I mean, even if you're reading, let's say you're reading these fantasy novels, and I like fantasy novels, and I think they're a way higher form of entertainment than, let's say, TV or something. But I don't read fantasy novels anymore because it's hard to say they're a waste of time, but they're a waste of time because I like writing fantasy novels. I've written multiple fantasy novels. They're not purposeful. They're not necessary. You're not learning stuff in a fantasy novel. It's pure dopamine. And so when I started consuming content with a purpose, when I stopped reading fantasy novels and started reading books, How to Win Friends and Influence People and, Robert Greene's books, I just flipped a switch inside of me. It's like, okay, this is really good. And I started reading these books, and I'm so much better in just my interactions with people because all these books are on human nature and stuff. I'm telling you, when you start consuming content with a purpose, it changes something in you, man. No longer you're just sitting there brain dead, with your mouth open like a mouth breather, and you're just watching these videos like a zombie. There's a purpose to it. You're learning, you're literally bettering your life when you sacrifice 2 hours to this long form Andrew Huberman podcast on how to sleep better. It's going to change your life. Is this Fortnite montage or this news article or anything related to that kind of stuff, is that going to change your life? No, it's not. Reading a book like this, I don't care if it's 500 pages long. I don't care, if the video is 2 hours long. Watching one 2 hour long video that's going to transform the way you live your life, or watching 2 hours of 20 Fortnite montages. Consuming content is a good thing. I'm so tired of hearing, stop consuming content and take action. When you're consuming content like this, consuming content is taking action. Learning is taking action. But you actually have to be learning. You can't just say, I'm taking action, and you're just watching these videos, you're not taking notes, and you're just listening to them. If you're not taking notes, you're not going to learn everything. You're going to maybe learn one or two things, those are going to stick. But when you're taking notes, you're going to go back in your journal and look at these notes over and over again. And that's how you take everything out of these 2 hour long videos. When you consume content with a purpose, your main focus is retaining everything that's being told to you, right? And there's just no way you can consume Fortnite montages and that kind of stuff with a purpose. You just can't do it. This kind of stuff that I'm consuming is life-changing. Life-changing. Like, it just feels good when you actually sit down and have a beautiful conversation, like a deep conversation with someone. So I might be the first one to tell you this, but consuming content is a good thing. as long as you're consuming content with a purpose and it's actually valuable content. Stop letting all these people on the internet say, "Oh, stop consuming content, take action." I see these ads on YouTube like,
sitting on the internet, watching videos.
man, I'm watching an Andrew Huberman video on how to improve and change my life. That's productive. Now, I'm not saying never take action and watch 6 hours of content on YouTube. No, I'm saying dedicate an hour and a half, 2 hours a day to maybe an Andrew Huberman podcast or a podcast in general. Podcasts are so good. Podcasts are so good. There's so much information in these podcasts. Like I watched a David Lade podcast and it was so good, man. Stop letting these people on the internet tell you to stop consuming content and take action. If you're consuming content with a purpose, you are taking action, man. To move from, let's say, level 1, you first have to learn how to get to level 2. Learning is part of the process. Consuming content is how we learn nowadays. So if you're consuming content for the pure purpose to learn, and you're learning, that's taking action, man. And that's how you change your life. You first have to learn somehow or another. Do not feel guilty about consuming content. I had to go through this where I feel guilty about consuming this self-improvement content. Consuming content is such a good thing. That's how we learn. This is the school we actually enjoy because we know it's actually gonna provide us with something in the real world, how we want to live our lives. Yeah, I'm not interested in algebra. I'm interested in this stuff. I'm actually gonna pay attention when Andrew Huberman starts speaking about how to sleep good. Consume content, man. But consume it purposefully and do it in a way to where you're going to retain the knowledge. If you do that, you change your life. Stop listening to these guys, wearing their Prada shirts and stuff. Stop consuming content and take action. Like, no, man, just learn with a purpose. Stop thinking it as consuming content. Just learn with a purpose. It's going to change your life. Subscribe if you like this video. I hope it provided you some value, and I'll see you on the next one.